Can everybody hear me? Yes. All right. So my name is Bart Verschoor. I guess more or less. Uh, I think it's fine. Yeah. All right. So my name is Bart Verschoor. I'm the CEO of Seal. And what is Seal? Seal is a blockchain-powered product authentication and services platform um, for brands and consumers. But before we go into that, what is a brand? To us, a brand is nothing more than a symbol of the collective effort of all the hardworking artists, programmers, designers, risk takers who dedicate their lives beating on their craft, honing their skills, spending hours upon hours, weeks upon weeks, years after years, perfecting what they do. And they make the products that we all love. They turn things into culture, and the sad thing is, it's getting counterfeited by the millions. So I am a creator myself. My co-founder is my brother, who is also a creator. My mother is an artist, and we have seen the impact of counterfeiting ourselves. My mother's products were actually counterfeited, and our family suffered from it. But that's not really, that's a personal story. But the bigger problem is much worse than this. So counterfeiting is a market where you buy perhaps like a Michael Kors wallet, or you go on AliExpress and you buy your fake iPhone cable. You not only destroy your battery, but you're also actually destroying the world. You're contributing to organized crime. And we think this is a problem. It's a problem for brands, it's a problem for consumers, and ultimately for our environment. So what do we do? How does Seal work? Well, Seal is basically a blockchain network, an application, a smartphone application, and a combination of near-field communication chips. So we bring blockchain into the physical world via chips. Well, we all know that the blockchain is very secure, but we also kind of need that property on physical items. So how do you do that? Well, we use dynamic chips. They're yeah, very secure. It would take several billion years of brute forcing to actually crack them. We work with NXP to do so. And well, at these days, it would cost around $12 million per chip to crack one. And even if that would happen, every time you interact with it, the state changes on the chip, and it would get out of sync. So we would still, see whether a product is tampered with or not. So what do we do besides just checking authenticity? This is just a start, right? Because this is the infrastructure. We have we can bring the blockchain to the physical world, but what kind of options does this open? We can, for the first time, register items as property and also beat parallel trade, midnight shifting. We can do theft prevention, and we can do proper product recalls, which is a big problem. So there's all sorts of services that we can expand upon, and we don't even know what's possible yet. There are many different options and different applications that we haven't discovered ourselves yet, which is why we're also opening up the technology for third parties. So if you look at how the system works, our vision is to become eventually the currency of authenticity. So we have a token, and this token is used to pay a transaction fee to us and brands. Brands are basically the issuer of their own products. They take back control, so it's not the factory anymore. The factory can't, for instance, instead of producing 1,000 products, make 10,000 products or 2,000 products. When they, this is what a midnight shift is. They just, create some extra items during the night and sell it through the back door. which is a big problem, and a lot of these problems that are very much adjacent to counterfeiting get solved when you have the right infrastructure. So apart from the transaction costs, which allow brands to actually earn money, which is a first, we want to have it so that people can buy products in full with our token. And the reason why we want to do that is because that is the first time when people can have a guaranteed exchange of goods. So normally you would, for instance, on eBay or Marktplaats, you would, meet up to buy something, and you're trying to book over the money from ING to ABN. It's going to take 2 days, so you don't want to do that. Instead, what you do is you go to the ATM and you get money, and then you pay them in cash. Well, the seller doesn't know that you actually go to the ATM. That money could be counterfeit, and the buyer doesn't really know whether the product is real. So when you use this technology to purchase items outright and transact it on a ledger, you, for the first time, cover both buyer and seller. And this is new. And this is very exciting because, brands are hurting from counterfeiters, mostly from China, but consumers are hurting as well. I myself am a collector. This is also where the ID, was born from, out of me collecting stuff that quickly rose in value. And as it rose in value, the incentive to counterfeit these products increased. So, for me, it's getting more and more difficult to buy the products I love because there's just no confidence anymore. These counterfeiters are getting really freaking good. And that's a problem, because once market integrity erodes, that's basically when a lot of categories start to fail, product categories. So our focus point from this point on is mostly value stores, items that rise in value, as I said. So what type of items are these? These are comic books. These are expensive wines. These are luxury items, fashion items. These are sneakers, exclusive sneakers. There's a multi-billion-dollar industry worth of just sneaker freaks. People, you've seen these, these pictures of people camping out at the Apple Store. Well, the same is true for sneakers. And there's a lot of niches out there like this that, people either spend their money on traveling and going out to eat, or on hobbies. So that's where we are focusing on. The ultimate vision, of course, is to secure all types of products, consumer goods. But we sort of take a Tesla approach, where we start with the Roadster, the Model S, Model 3, and I think that's also a good, a really good strategy, especially for the blockchain industry, because a lot of people, when you're talking about adoption, I think this is interesting to mention, is a lot of people who are already into the blockchain, they have already made some money trading, and you actually see a big uptake in the sales of not just Lambos but luxury goods, right? So there's a natural affinity, and if you're looking at adoption, this is important, because the idea is nice, and the product is nice, which I'll show you later, but in the end, you need to have some path to market, and this is where I think the entire blockchain industry is really missing its mark. We decided to make this out of love for creation, to protect the brands and the consumers. But we also started this because we really see this as the way forward, and the route to mainstream adoption of blockchain technology. Thanks. I'll quickly show you a little demo. So I was born in the 80s, big Super Nintendo lover. This is a mint condition Super Nintendo game. It's worth about 350 euros, which was a bargain. Some games will be like Chrono Trigger is 3,500 euros, and there are some Super Nintendo games worth 30,000 euros. So you know it's a lot of money. So I opened the Seal app. So it's ready to scan. I just scan it, and it's already done. It's authenticated. Now I can claim it, and after I claim it, I can transfer it, which is very nice because the brand actually gets a kickback every time it's transferred. So that's interesting for collectibles and these type of items that generally have a life cycle of 10, 25, 50 years. These companies can start to really build entirely new revenue streams based on the products they already have out there. So yeah, that's why we think we'll be successful in doing so. And I'd love to take any questions you may have.
Here we go. In your talk, you mentioned about how you have a token that's central to what you do. And so that leads me to ask, you have done an ICO, you will do an ICO, and when can we, or will we in the future, be able to see under which letters be able to see or find your token on the various exchanges?
Yes, so we have an exchange agreement. I'm not sure if we can talk about it yet, but we do have one. We are doing ICO in the coming weeks. So if you just join our Telegram group on t.me/sealnetwork, you should find all the answers you have. If you want. Here.
Well, thanks for the presentation. A couple of questions. Sorry. First of all, the example is really nice. My first question was, who puts the chip in something that's secondhand produced before Seal was started?
Yeah.
I have to say why I like it is on King's Day I bought it was a poster of it was hand poster of like a movie. And the guy had a nice story, but I have to look in his eyes. Is he telling bullshit or is it a real poster? So it would come handy if I could scan. This is a real handmade film poster.
Well, that's having that nice story and not knowing whether it's bullshit or not is actually what happens in Christie's and Sotheby's as well. And sometimes they do get it wrong. So that's very nice. So who issues ultimately these products on the blockchain, right? So we only sell the solution to brands themselves or professional authentication companies or grading services or auction houses. So people that appraise whether products are real or not. And then we do not authenticate the product, but the case the product encloses. And the reason for that is because the example I showed you, it's a Super Nintendo game from a company called Kui. Well, we cannot guarantee that authenticity, but we can guarantee VGA, which is Video Game Authentication. That's the company. So we put the trust in VGA. And if you don't want to trust VGA, then in that case it wouldn't be possible to retrofit. If you wouldn't trust Christie's, then you can't retrofit. But otherwise, yeah, that's the way.
The second question is because you're doing ICO.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling the token, and then it will be on exchange, so it will be like a huge volatility.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can imagine that brands or other people using it need to pay transaction fee.
Mm-hmm.
Gives a lot of uncertainty. How do you relate it to the fact that it has to do with massive adoption? So like everyone who wants to use the token, whether it's consumer or brand, needs to buy these tokens, which I think if you have no clue how these private keys and stuff
For consumers, we would be able to just instead of going on Kraken or I don't know, Bittrex or whatever. Yeah, you would just buy them directly in the app. The app is basically a wallet. And for the brands, obviously, they probably don't, or they maybe they do, but perhaps they don't want to have any crypto holdings, so they would be able to convert immediately to fiat. So that shouldn't be a problem.
So maybe my question is, why don't you charge in euros or something that?
Okay.
Good question. Is it working? Do you only you plan to sell the product to brands that do like shoes and nice shiny things, or also to food companies that make like a perfect wine or?
Yes and no. So we have a customer, which is a winery. They sell bottles worth 1,200 euros each. So these are also, you could say, speculative or collector wines. And for that use case, you need different type of chips or inlays and so on. But yeah, just really doing food is, I believe, not. There are projects that do that. Ambrosis does pharmaceuticals, and there's few others that try to do so. But in my opinion, if you're really going to go for food, the volumes will be so big that it's impossible to do it with the current scalability issues of blockchain technologies. Yeah, maybe Hashgraph could solve some of it. But right now, I think that you would just choke the blockchain and have a not working product.